Welcome to another edition of the Quick Win Clinic at marketingexperiments.com. This page was submitted by Prashant. If you're new to this sort of session, we're going to do a few minutes of analysis and try and help this leader, and at the same time learn some sort of transferable principle that you can apply in your own context. First thing I'd like to do is focus just on the top of the page, and I want you to bear sort of your focus on the image. Notice it just changed, and as you start to think about it for a moment, you're going to watch and it changes again. And this is common. We see this on sites everywhere, and frankly, the number one thing I would do if I were trying to improve this site is I would stop that motion. People don't start watching this at the beginning. It changes just at the moments of interest. We get frustrated trying to find out what it's saying, and in this case, most of the images don't even convey any clear message. You have to work all the way down. Now look, clean, in fact, I'll mark it up where you can see it. All the way here, before you start to see really any sort of communication. Let's measure that for just a moment. We're down past half of the page, and yet you've spent nothing to engage me in a dialogue. Now, the key word for today is dialogue, because the point of a web page is that it is dynamic and communicating, and the person who engages with this page is also engaging in the mental dialogue. And you have to get into that conversation and speak to them. You have to guide their thinking. If you're not guiding their thinking, then you're leaving them to make sense of what's taking place. Now, I applaud you on the idea. You're trying to help me understand why perhaps this is the right company. But don't ask a question. I came with a question. I'm not interested in your questions. I'm interested in an answer. So change that to an emphatic statement that has a subject and a predicate, or at least an understood subject. It needs to make sense. It needs to make meaning. Use that line to say why, and then support what you say with what you have beneath. The difference is I'm not stuck trying to make sense of changing images, and then I'm presented not with a forceful statement but a question. Still no meaning. And then I get into this established in 2009. That's not very powerful. 2009 seems like yesterday, and established is an awful big word to use before I get any real context. So now I have waded through 4 or 5 images. I have a question instead of an answer. I'm hearing a why instead of the reason. I start to read text established in let's count it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm 5 words in, halfway in the sentence, and still I haven't had any meaning. I know nothing. Now I start to see it offers workplace and portfolio services to the world's leading companies, helping them create dynamic workplaces, which just use that word, 1 line above, and mission-critical facilities. This is a complex sentence that doesn't do the hard work that a good opening sentence should do. And it's not being supported by a strong headline or subheader, and so I have to work very hard to get any sort of meaning. And then underneath here, I see conflict-free solutions. I assume that's some sort of drop-down, and transparent engagement structure. I see these 4 points, but at present, they don't make any sense. I don't understand how they connect to the paragraph above. They should be supporting evidentials that prove the main statement that you're giving me. It should represent the answer to this question. If I am the ideal prospect, why should I work with this organization rather than any other? And if you're not using this space to communicate that, you're hoping that I'm going to somehow presume it. And that's dangerous. So the transferable principle, the key to making this page better, but the key to making everyone who watches this page better, is to step back and say, within the first few inches of my page, am I clearly giving people an ultimate reason as to why they should stop and engage with the context of the page below, get into the mental dialogue, and speak with me? Am I communicating a value proposition? Am I communicating an ultimate reason? Am I getting inside of their thinking?